Hey everybody, 7:39 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, March the 16th. In the year 2019, I'm told, something interesting about that. A guy, well, I think it was, yeah, a guy who had posted, a few months ago, he had posted some videos, having to do with mud flood. He's Scottish, a very thick Scottish accent. Some of you will know the channel I'm talking about. He posted a video exposing Martin Lidke for a lot of satanic stuff that he saw going on with Martin. So I watched the whole video, and one thing I noticed that was very funny was that at some point in time, it seems that Martin has started doing that whole thing with the date, where I think what he said was we're told. Now, some things are organic, but other things aren't. And I wonder if Martin picked up on that from me. And not like I'm lauding praises. I'm really not. But one of the reasons that I might say that is part of the reason I'm making this video. I didn't even feel like making a video. I really didn't, folks. And I didn't know how soon I was going to make another video. My next video was going to be another addendum video to the series I did on Smith and Kabbalah. Because one thing we have to do is establish what we know so far and use that as a foundation for things we can move on to. Things like what are facts that Owens brought up in his article, and any facts, or at least hard claims, about Mormonism that are important to moving forward, because we have to dig in a different area. And we have to establish certain connections early on before we go there. It's vitally important because if all you're going to do, like certain people I know on social media, that seem to be very popular, some of them, and they also, oftentimes they're specialists in certain areas of information. And of course, they have a lot of information on those certain specific areas. They can go on for hours, forever, for many, many, many broadcasts of theirs and podcasts of theirs and writings of theirs on these individuals, or these individuals seemingly unconnected organizations. And the problem with that is they never make those all so utterly important connections. And apparently, one of the problems with me is I can't help but looking for those connections. Because history, even if we can find historical accounts that are more trustworthy than others, the study of history is meaningless without these connections. When I was in high school, I remember having an initial reaction of passion towards history, only because of certain little ideas implanted, probably subconsciously, that I knew there was something to this that was of great value. However, the teaching of and application of history, to me, especially at the high school level, and the junior high and before level, was horrible. It was a nightmare. Those people in high school, they made me hate history. High school, junior high, not so much elementary, but junior high and high school and college, I attended a few different colleges, they all did their part in making me utterly disgusted with almost every subject I either tried, focused on, or had to take. Because for one thing, there were not connections. I was listening to either it was somebody on social media. It was. I was listening to him on BitChute. Charles, yes, I remember the first name. And his last name was a little bit more difficult, but I'll tell you something. The little bit I was able to catch from him, I liked. And I didn't even know I was going to talk about him, but I'm not going to apologize for anything. This video, I didn't even want to make. I have to go back. I just started back on prednisone yesterday. I have to do it to bring my platelet counts up before I can get a chemo infusion. I do not enjoy being on prednisone, and it's heavy prednisone. It's not light, it's heavy. And one of the things they never told me before I started on prednisone is that whenever you come off of heavy doses of prednisone, you'll go through a type of withdrawal from it. And they neglected to mention that. Just slipped their mind. And I went through it for the first time about 5 days after my last infusion, because they had me on it for 5 days before and 5 days after. This time, well, I don't want to subscribe to myself. Well, yeah, I do. Good. This time, and what I've got to do is I've got to go to channels I'm subscribed to. And I can never remember how to do it on this. I know how to do it on my phone a lot easier. Switch to night mode, notifications. I guess I don't need notifications. Do I have to be signed in? No, here we go. Subscriptions. Oh, anyways, yeah, so I was saying, it's that prednisone, it's rough. His name is Charles. I hope I don't butcher the last name. I know I have a last name like that. Charles Fockert. Fockert. F-O-C-K-A-E-R-T. Or Fockert. Could be Fockert. Sorry, Charles Fockert. I've only had a chance to listen to a couple of his videos. I believe he talks about a lot of good stuff. And, like myself, when I'm not actually making a series, even though I go in a lot of rabbit trails, so what? I absolutely agree with some things he's saying about, because he covers a lot of different topics. There is a unification to things. This is why I've bounced all over the place for years, since I started making YouTube videos in the first place a few years ago. Now, albeit, I was not good at it. I have honed my talents for being able to click record and speak. Early on, I had a hard time doing that. I would click record and I wouldn't be able to think. I'd freeze up, and you can only pause and go back and edit so many times before you have to get ready for work. Because, I've done all of this in my free time in the morning, before I work usually, Right now I can't because of the chemo. It's really heavy chemo, and there's so much to it and everything. I literally can't work. Although I'm doing some small, more cottage things in the meantime, because I don't want any help from that corporation. It calls itself the United States. And I know they take from us our whole lives. And a lot of people would make a very strong case for, they take from us. They take and they take and they take and they take. So, when we need the help, there it is. I don't think I agree with that, because what they're doing is because they're foul, evil people, like Ahab Jezebel style government we got going on here. Every time you receive what they consider as a benefit, which is no benefit at all, because you never asked for it. I never asked for it. We never signed up. None of us entered into a two-way agreement in which we were conscious of this. We were agreeable to this. We wanted this sort of agreement. None of us. However, they look at it in that way. And if you listen to my two-part reading of Howard Freeman's transcript on why that is, and it has to do with the fiat paper debt notes that they give us and how they consider that a contract, you'll understand why they consider us contracting with them. And any time that they do something, they force something on us. They force something like Obamacare on us. So if you want to take advantage of something they forced on you because you're just trying to take care of your family. That's all you're trying to do. You're not trying to start a revolution. You're not trying to start an insurrection. In fact, you already know that the government and all of its arms, tentacles, are very evil. You know that it's been that way for a very long time. But you know, you're just trying to support your family, and you're trying to keep other people from hurting and stealing from and trying to kill your family. That's what you're doing. So in the meantime, when you're trying to secure health care for them, and they force certain things on you that you don't have the time and abilities to fight, that maybe you could if more people would stand up and do something instead of just caring about themselves and trying to save their own skins and hiding behind fake names so that they can indulge in all of these things that they privately think about and wish about, but they're too scared to get in the public eye and help people and do something. People that really can. There are so many of them that really can make a difference, and everybody can. I don't care if you're somebody, if you're nobody. I don't care if you're rich or you're poor. Everybody can. You got social media accounts, you can do something because you can add your name to the numbers of people that are standing up and saying, I'm sick of this. I'm sick and tired of this. I'm sick and tired of other people slanderizing people like me and my people. Slanderizing people that don't agree with them. Slanderizing people that just want to tell the truth. Want to tell the truth. They want to shine the light of truth on everything. You see, when you are forced into doing certain things, and I'm not going to get into a conversation about agreeableness with government and all that. It is extraordinarily difficult and time-consuming to extract yourself in all the lawful ways that it takes to do that. And there are many things on my list of priorities, and that thing just hasn't been at the top yet. Because there isn't enough hours in the day to keep food on the table and to take care of your family and to do some of these things that are extraordinarily complicated. So they force you into something, and what they do is they put into that fine print when they force you into doing something, oh, that by the way, you can't protest this or ask for this, or this, or this, or this. They are the lowest forms of life that take advantage of people like that. That's who we're talking about. The lowest forms of life. So with that said, and please check out Charles Folkert. Do it on BitChute. YouTube is not your friend. They're not my friend. Yes, I know they are one of the easiest platforms to navigate. They have a lot of personalities are still on YouTube. But I'll tell you something, a lot aren't. And a lot have had to move to podcast sites that are specifically for the kind of information that they provide, or have had to rent out podcast space because it's very hard to find podcast sites that are free. I found one recently that purports to be free for podcasters, and then they purport that they can match you up with people who want to sponsor podcasts. And we'll see how that goes. But I did find them. Here's the thing. I found them on a site with a number of hosts that purport to be ex-Mormons that are doing shows supposedly exposing Mormonism. The problem is, whether they're sincere or not, so many of them, they toe the line as far as keeping the narrative very small and focusing a very small light just on Joseph Smith or just on Brigham Young. Okay, like that. Well, I found advertisements for this, one advertisement, and I remembered it, punched it in for this site. It's Anchor.fm. So I'm going to check it out. I'm going to see if it's worthwhile. If not, most of the other podcast sites, so you can get yourself a unlimited amount of podcasts on there. And then you can post those podcasts to sites that I'm sure once they find out the content of your material, they won't want that on there. But whatever. You know, these people, they're not God, nor are they gods. That's something I think we all have to remember. So they're not omnipotent. They're not omniscient. They're not omnipresent. Okay? And there's far more of us than them. And if we tell them, we're just not going to stand for it. We're not going to stand for your abuse and your slander and your bullying and your threats and your theft and your violence and your murder. We're not going to stand for it. But you have to actually do something to let them know you're not going to stand for it. You're not afraid. They can't push you around. You don't care what sort of bully tactics they use, and let them know that you're on to them. So that brings me to this. I got an email this morning from Truth Seeker. I've mentioned him before. He had a channel before that I started watching. I believe he called it the Zionist Protocols, and he had some videos on there I thought very interesting. So I started watching that, and wouldn't you know it, within a week or two, it got slammed, shut down. So he had to start a number of successive channels, Truth Seeker, with a number after it. And some cool videos on there, but he started doing just live hangouts, and he usually had to just do the live hangout and immediately erase it, or he'd get channels shut down. So they must be in love with him. But he had talked at length in a couple of videos that I'd seen on one of his channels about the bubonic plague. And I was relatively unfamiliar with it other than the crap that they teach you about it in history class. I didn't know about all of the reports that there were at that time, that it was actually Jews or people who were put up to it or paid by Jews at that time to put basically poison packs in local cities' water systems. Because, yes, cities had universal water systems at that time. It was not the Flintstones. We got to get that out of our head. Wherever white people have existed, there has not been a Flintstones situation, okay? So if you go on Wikipedia, you can put in Black Death or bubonic plague, and you'll see in there, Wikipedia themselves, they'll tell you that there was around this time there was this huge surge of anti-Semitism with all of these claims that it was Jews who were poisoning the local water. Well, they had to address that because there is a heck of a lot more to it than that. There were people caught and questioned and told them what they were doing. So it wasn't just some kind of crazy panic or something that was making people be mean to Jews. Okay, there was substance to it. So I've been bugging him, to come on my channel and do a hangout and talk about the bubonic plague. So yeah, I got an email from him, and he said that he would, which it's going to be a real nice break for me, because doing the Mormon research and everything that's around it, it's not an open book. It's really not. And because I have been listening to and reading so much, not only about Mormonism, okay, but also about Judaism. So I have had the extreme displeasure of having to figure out how to navigate the Zohar and how many versions of the Zohar there are out there, and versions of the Talmud, and what's considered as far as the best translations, because we're talking about translations. These books were written originally in Aramaic, and especially in, say, Sefer HaZohar's case, a lot of the Aramaic, or words, it wasn't Aramaic, but the words, there's a lot of cryptic words in there. Some that seem basically unintelligible. Well, let's just say unintelligible to the average person who undertakes a translation. I found one see, I like to buy everything in book form, but that gets expensive. So you have to just start wish lists and hope that as you go along, you can start knocking some of these things out. I found... I can tell you right now that the best rated Talmud, as far as the least amount of redaction, because there's a story to it and why it even exists, is the Socino translation of the Talmud. That's the one I know of that is the most recommended. It's not easy to find also, because I don't know that I have a digital version of Socino at this point in time. But with the Zohar, Sefer HaZohar. Now, there's a lot to this. That's something you got to remember. If you try to download the Zohar, you might just get a translation that only has a portion of it. It's a lot. You put everything together that's considered the Zohar, it's big. There was a couple that I don't have their names right now. I'm sorry. I think it starts with an S, and I can't open a window right now because I keep a wish list on Amazon. I don't buy books through Amazon when I don't have to. I don't want to support them. In fact, I've been looking for some time for local book dealers that don't have anything to do with this, But I do keep my wish list on Amazon. So just real quick, I'm going to punch in, because this will help me to actually probably find it real quick. See if I can find the version that I was after. It's 12 volumes, I know that. And the thing is, Amazon does not sell it themselves. It's third party. That's what it is. It's the Pritzker edition. As you can see, each one of these volumes, even through third parties on Amazon, these ones are Prime. 12 is Prime and 6 is Prime. Geez, it's hit or miss with these guys. You know that? Anyways, you're going to be spending an average of $60. Look, in some of these cases, $42.90 for Volume 6. Volume 7, $43.35. It's not cheap, but they are hardcover. Pretty nice. They were translated by 3 different guys. One guy had done a number of the volumes, and then they hired 2 other translators to finish this. And it doesn't sound like it's popular with the Jewish community, which makes me think it might be good. So that's something I got my eye on. Anyways, so that's really difficult because things are not they're not universally numbered. And I've put all of this in my notes for the next kind of compendium, or maybe I should say addendum, to the Smith and Kabbalah, Mormon thing going down. But back to this. This is something Truth Seeker told me about. And I told him, within the next couple of weeks, I think it'd be great to do a stream and talk about that. That is an interesting piece of history. There's not a ton of information out there on it. What information most people are going to get on it, the superficial information, is going to be some real garbage. So he told me about this. He said he was streaming recently. They were going through here, punching in names and all that. And he said he found my name. He said then my name came up. So I'm on their radar. So I went there and checked it out a little bit. Got a lot of names on here. Funny enough, most of the names that I saw on here were so-called Arabs, Arab names, Muslim names. But I spent a little bit of time searching after I saw my profile and everything, because I thought, that's kind of funny, actually. Because, who am I? Who am I? Some silly little guy, right? So I put in a lot of names that I really expected to see here. I mean, if they're paying attention to little old me, I'm sure some of these other people who I know have a way bigger voice than I do. They should be on here too, man. I mean, in spades. And nowhere to be found. Now, I'm not saying I want them on here, because just the fact that this organization exists and ones like it, these people are slanderous. They're slanderous because they use very nasty, harsh language about people. I've read other profiles of other people, because one of the things they keep track of is students, people who are very active as students on campuses, because that's the new generation right there, right? That's where minds are fertile. They will take in college students are more prone to taking in new information than just about anybody else. You're going to have far more luck with a college student trying to get them to at least entertain new information than you're going to with even somebody my age and older. Because they get out of college, and typically they have ambitions. And let's be honest, a lot of people out there, their ambitions are just after their flesh. Or life kicks their butt a lot, and they lose passion, they lose desire. Some people, man, they just curl up and they can't handle it because life is very hard. But college is a good time. So anyways, they target a lot of colleges, college professors, and obviously brilliant people like myself. But I was surprised. Because I did put in a lot of names of people I know who I know are really well outspoken on social media and stuff. And I thought, geez, man, if they're targeting me, they got to be targeting these people. And so a lot of you that I know or know of haven't made their list yet. Maybe it's just because, maybe some of those people that I didn't find on here, maybe it's because their public presence is so strong. Because some of them, they own and run their own websites with podcasts and all that stuff. Maybe the reason that they're not featured on here is because their public presence is already so strong. I don't know if it speaks for itself, but they do talk very slanderously in a lot of their ways. And I think just because they have this open, and they say, now listen, this is certain stuff. This is real slanderous stuff. Let me go to their homepage first and say this, and then I'll go back to that. They say Canary Mission documents people and groups that promote hatred of the USA, Israel, and Jews on North American college campuses. Documents people and groups that promote hatred. This is what I'm talking about, folks. Let us define our terms, because they don't. These people who maintain this website, Canary Mission, they are insidious people, and they are sophists. And they know how to use language. They know how to use power words that they don't define, you see. So, promote hatred of the USA. Well, that's funny, because I have never promoted anything but love for my fellow Americans and hatred for the enemies of my country. Last I had checked, that's a very normal thing. Now they say, promotes hatred of the USA, Israel, and Jews on North American campuses. Well, that's funny, because the second thing is, I didn't know that I was in any way, shape, or form, or that any other American was in any way, shape, or form obligated to support a foreign country. I don't care what our politicians tell us. All you have to do is have two eyes and take a look, and you can see that the fraudulent state of Israel, they're not the friends of Americans. They may be buddies with all the sellouts in the corporation of the United States, in the 10 square miles of Washington, D.C. They may be good buddies with them. They may have all kinds of blackmail, nasty, icky dirt on them. Those people might be all in the secret societies or just being paid off. Maybe a lot of them are pretty cheap. I'll bet they are. I bet they didn't take much. Probably just took like a new Camry and maybe a trip to Israel, and they were in. Anyways, hatred of Jews on North America. Hatred of Jews. The hatred of Jews. Now that's a funny thing too, because I was poking through a lot of this, and it seemed like the only profiles that I found that were actively promoting like a hatred of Jews, if you want to call it like hatred, even if we could get a good definition of hatred, where they say like these people said they want Jews to die, or they, things like that, okay? You can't say that those people are in love with them, right? Most of the people that I've found that say things like that on their social media accounts and stuff, and they got on here, they're very suspect. They're very, very, very suspect, folks. They include a lot of very false narratives about different events, people, groups, and organizations in their rhetoric, and they're very suspect. They're suspect in the way of that one college girl who raised this big stink about racism and anti-Semitism against Jews because she was a Jew. And she raised this huge stink about all of that just to come to find out, because she said somebody painting or putting swastikas on the door of her dorm room, and the camera, they put a camera up in there, and they caught her doing it. They caught her doing it. What about that one guy years ago that was calling in all those bomb threats to, I don't know if it was just Jewish, if it was synagogues or if it was Jewish businesses too and all that? And this was back when there was still some good guys left in the FBI. And I still hope there are good guys left. I hope there are good guys left. And I hope if you're somebody who has been told that you need to listen to me or something to build some kind of case against me, I want you to know a couple of things, and I'm talking to you right now. So I hope you've made it this far. First off, you can't do anything to me that my God, my Elohim, that he doesn't let you do. Okay? The second thing is, I hope that more of you who love the people of America, the people, your families, your friends, not these people who have dual loyalty citizenships, and you know their loyalty isn't to America, their loyalty is not to your family and friends. I hope you'll consider that. whether it's FBI, CIA, any of the alphabets, or police, military, I hope you will consider that. What is really service and protection of your family, your friends, and some kind of good way of life? Because it's not their way. The way is to repent and to return to your God. Because if you're a white, Celto, Saxon, Germanic, Scandinavian type, that whole people type, he's your God. Jesus Christ, as he's called, he's your Messiah. You need to turn back to his ways. Don't compartmentalize him. Don't reject him. Don't go with the way of the world. Because that's all that these people that hate us have to accomplish. They just have to keep us away from him. They just have to keep us from obeying him. Do you see that? That's all they have to accomplish. They can tell you the truth about everything else that's going on. You can have a Jan Lamprecht in South Africa that's telling you all the truth about things that are going on in South Africa, but he hates the Bible, he detests Christianity, and he wants to keep you away from that. Whether he's an organic, sincere person or not, he's not your friend, and he's not the friend of his people. These people know, and that's why they keep us away from it. That's why they put out all the pornography that they do. That's why they put out all the disgusting ethical, moral movies that they do. That's why they come up with every possible distraction they can from keeping us from turning to him and staying with him. Because they know that if our people do that, and do that corporately in any one of our countries around the world, that's it. They can't control anymore. They can't have power over us anymore. The only reason they have power over us is because we have turned away from him. So they are a vehicle for Yahweh, our Elohim, our God, to use to press on us to bring us back to him. And they don't want us there. That's the last thing they want. You want to know why they do what they do. If you've scratched your head wondering, why? What are these tactics all about? I can tell you right now, they want to keep us as a people corporately away from obeying and serving him. They want to keep us away from being the people of the book, the Word. They don't want us to be disciples of Yeshua, the Christ. That's the last thing they want. The first thing they would rather have is people following white nationalists and promoting any of their rhetoric. And part of the stuff they had on me in here was Patrick Little, because I shared a couple of his posts. Because Patrick Little, I'm going to tell you, he's a honeypot. There's nothing else he could be than a honeypot. But, you learn as you go, right? So I'm learning as I go. And the thing is, honeypot or not, there were a lot of things, and that's what honeypots do. There were a lot of things that he said that were absolutely correct. 100% true. But that's not the point. Okay? Patrick Little does not want us to be people of the book. Patrick Little would rather us be white nationalists instead. He would rather us be immoral instead. He's a honeypot. Prove me wrong. I've been to his website. I've seen his crazy platform. He has got some crazy stuff on his platform. I have written him multiple emails about some items in his platform that are clearly not true, that you could do a little bit more research on and see aren't true. But I never get a reply. So they say Canary Mission investigates hatred across the entire political spectrum, including the far right, far left, and anti-Israel activists. So they must be investigating the entire Democratic Party in the United States. But that's all a show too, folks. It's all a show. Every individual and organization has been carefully researched and sourced. They carefully researched me. Thanks for putting in the time. If you appreciate the work of Canary Mission, help us continue to expose hatred by alerting us to anti-Semitic activity on your college campus. Alert us, they say. Because in addition to listing you, like they're doing here, look at this. This Holocaust Remembrance Day. Yeah, all right, now you guys prove that there were homicidal gas chambers here in Auschwitz. Because you know it was already disproven. It was already disproven that there were not homicidal gas chambers anywhere. The gas chambers, yeah, they had to delouse clothes. And you know it. You know it. But you have nothing if you don't have your Holocaustianity. If you don't have the perception that the Jews have been persecuted, as opposed to the reality that they are the persecutors. You know you have nothing. Anyways, so they're saying, yes, snitch on your friends, snitch on your family, tell us about it, and we'll send Antifa down there, who are normally just paid drug addicts. And if they can't get them, then they'll get whoever they can from B'nai B'rith and ADL and whatever. Or oftentimes Jewish kids from rich Jewish families who are nasty little violent people because they have been groomed to be such. And they'll go down there and they'll be violent. People that are not violent, that are actually just trying to shine a light on the truth, they're the ones who get violence perpetrated against them. By and coming from places like Canary Mission. If any of you out there are attorneys, you need to look into representing people. There's tons of people on here, by the way. And bringing class action lawsuit against Canary Mission for being slanderous. They're being slanderous. We need to start upping the bar. So when they say things like hatred, they have to qualify that word. You see, etymology and strict definitions of words is important. This is why they love the English language, because the English language is as artificial as the day is long, and you can fool with English so much. So they use power words. And besides for using power words, these people, they like using words like they spew this. They spewing their truth. So on my page in the overview, they say that I, Jonathan Mactimus, endorsed neo-Nazi United States Senate candidate Patrick Little, who ran as a Republican in 2018 on an anti-Jewish platform. Well, that's correct. I posted a couple of videos of his on my Facebook. I mentioned him a few times too until I figured out that he was a honeypot and his platform was a little bit crazy and he doesn't answer emails about truthful topics. So you can see if you if you become friends with me on Facebook or something, you'll have to scroll back for a long time to get those couple of little videos. He says Mactimus has spread anti-Semitism and hatred of Israel on social media. I've done neither. First off, they need to define anti-Semitism. Do you understand? And now we're back to hatred. See, they have it in blue. Hatred. A lot of these things, they're going to go for rulings that have actually been made by Congress on certain things. So look at that. It just takes you to my Facebook. Syria strikes and the Israel connection. Trump has been compromised. This man hasn't pieced it all together. And many are trying, but one thing must be resoundingly clear. America has been killing and dying for Israeli interests. And why is this good for anyone besides is not real? So they put some links to some of these posts. Good for them. As of May 2018, Mactimus' Facebook page indicated he's the owner of Renaissance Remodeling. That is correct. In Michigan City, Indiana. So they're not doxing me. They're doxing me, but not doxing me because I put that information up myself. However, I don't think I made my profile public. Some of those posts they pick up because they have algorithm runners. And all of these people, because the fraudulent state of is not real, has so much money that they have stolen from the average American, the average German, and many average, normal people from many countries over incidents that they can't prove, like the Holocaust, and their whole identity politic that, of course, involves them being the persecuted, as opposed to being prosecuted for crimes they commit. As of May 2018, yada yada, Renaissance, yeah. As of the same day, oh, and by the way, I'm thinking about actually, when the cancer thing is over, I think I'm just going to get a job so that I can put more time into doing these things that I love. Well, research and working on OBRI. Love doing that. Working on a really demanding document right now. A really demanding document. And it's not like the other ones, like Euphrates, a problem with geography. It's different. It has so much to do with language. And it's not all OBRI, actually. But I'm not going to go into it. As of the same date, his Facebook page said he studied at Ivy Tech Community College of Indiana. Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, what are you going to send your Antifa bullies down there, too, to see if there's any other students that have a free and open mind to truth? Wouldn't be surprised. In big block letters promoting neo-Nazi Patrick Little. On May 30, 2018, Mactemus wrote on Facebook, quote, "Watch this before it's deleted again from YouTube." Patrick Little's running for California Senate, and it was probably and they just go into, they spend so much time on Little on this, which is really funny, because there's so many of my posts that are against the policies of Israel. There are a lot of posts that absolutely are about exposing Jewish hegemony. There are a lot of my posts having to do with historical restorationism. You heard me right. I didn't say revisionism. I said restorationism, because it's these people who have done the revisions. I'm all about restoring history. It's going to be restored, folks, one way or another. When all things are said and done, go read Daniel 7. And after one like as the son of Adam came to the Ancient of Days, and the beast was destroyed, and books were opened, because they're keeping accurate track of history. The psalmist says that Yahweh laughs from heaven at these fools who devise their plans against them. He laughs at them, just like I'm doing. Because they're fools. They're fools. So they go out, they lie, and they slander about people who are desperately trying to get the truth out there to a very sleepy world right now. It's sleepy. But who knows what tomorrow will bring. So anyways, yeah, they use a lot of their garbagey rhetoric. Now they go again to anti-Semitism. You better define your terms. You better define your terms. And they talk about some of the posts on my Gab account. You guys can read this whole thing. It's fine. I'll leave you a link to this Canary mission. And you can see the kind of stuff they post. I got a pretty good one here. You got to scroll down. It's not a little small thing. Related profiles, nothing. Last modified 2/17 to 2019. Oh, they're keeping up on me, aren't they? 2/17. Not bad. It's been almost a month though, people, and I've put up a lot more posts and videos. You're gonna have to get on top of it. I know you people got nothing better to do. I mean, what do you got to do? You make posts like this on Canary Mission. Then you've got your what? I don't know how many they require to get your paycheck. Whether they make you open 20 or more different Facebooks, 20 or more different YouTube accounts. It's a lot to manage. I know, because, all of you guys have to go like on YouTube, and you've got to write, all of your awesome comments on Owen Benjamin videos and Alex Jones videos. And that, what's his name? Can't stand that guy. Steven Crowder videos. No, I can't stand Steven Crowder because he's just like all the rest of them, man. But yeah, I mean, keep up. I've got lots more. I think it's well-rounded too. I don't think you guys are putting up very well-rounded posts of mine. I like this one. He continued there behind the race baiting, pornography, sodomite parades, transgenderism, income tax, mass illegal immigration, Federal Reserve, all foreign wars, and our unbelievable debt. The only future for our children is one without Jews having control of anything in the USA. Hear, hear. Hear, hear. That is correct. Yes, Jewish hegemony is a very big problem, especially for the ones who are dual citizenships. You bet. You bet. And if most people weren't sleepy and selfish and busy chasing all of their own self-centered carrots on a stick, they'd start to realize that. The U.S. was supposed to have anti-monopoly laws, but they forgot about those a long time ago when those monopolies started paying off all the politicians. Come on, it's been going on from the start. George Washington wore his Masonic apron. It's been going on since the start and before. It's been going on since the sugar plantations. Come on, folks, come on. But anyways, I digress. So I'm hitting the big time. And one thing that I just love, this is something I love, because when things like this happen, these are the times that I get to just celebrate my faith more than at any other time. Because that's something I know. I just know for a fact. I just know it. There's no sickness that can kill me, lest my Father allows. Okay? Forget about persons. There is no army, no government, nor anything in existence that can bring me any harm in any way, lest He allows it. So whatever happens only happens because He allows. So when people do things like this, when they want to make people feel intimidated, and they use all of their power words and rhetoric to do this kind of stuff, just remember, don't get upset about it. Don't get nervous about it. You just do your job. Your job is to read the Word. Your job is to be a disciple of Yeshua called Jesus Christ. It's your job to obey the Word. As for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. That's what your job is. And I'm gonna read you something real quick, and then I'm gonna let you go. It's about an hour in. Luke 14:25 from the World English Bible Version. Now great multitudes were going with him, great multitudes. And he turned and said to them, if anyone comes to me and does not disregard his own father, mother, wife, children, brothers, and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he can't be my disciple. Whoever doesn't bear his own cross and come after me can't be my disciple. For which of you, desiring to build a tower, not a hut, not a little garage or tool shed, a tower, doesn't first sit down and count the cost to see if he has enough to complete it? Or perhaps when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, everyone who sees him begins to mock him, saying, This man began to build and he wasn't able to finish. Or what king, as he goes to encounter another king in war, will not sit down first and consider whether he's able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is yet a great a great way off, he sends an envoy and asks for conditions of peace. So therefore, whoever of you does not renounce all that he has, he can't be my disciple. Let it sink in. Those are the words of the one they call Jesus the Christ, Yeshua Mashiach. Those are his words. I've got more words from him, though. Like, don't worry. I've already overcome the world. And how about this one? Don't fear him who is able to destroy the body, but fear him who, once he's destroyed the body, is able to cast both body and soul into Gehenna, or Gehinnom. What is Gehinnom? And I have to do this. No one is positive, because I'm not buying that it was a garbage burning dump in a valley by a city. Do you have any idea how filthy that would make the city? Because I know exactly where they try to say it is. The city would be full of filth and ash, and there were supposedly burning bodies besides filthy garbage that can have all kinds of airborne crap that the wind could carry back into the city. I think there was something special about Gehenna and why it was used as, in a sense, a euphemism. But in a sense, maybe not. There's something special about it. Like as if it was an area of land that actually had open pits of like lava flows and things like that. Really interested in that. But anyways, don't fear him who can destroy the body. And he has already overcome the world. He's already won. The kingdom is here. And it's just going to grow. It's just going to grow. And all history is being accurately kept track of. So all the murderous people, it's keeping track of you. All the liars and slanderers, he's keeping track of you. All the cowards who are selfish and want to do nothing but save your own skin and pursue your own idea of what is just a happy life. They're keeping track of you. History is not going to remember you very well, if at all. Once everything is taken care of, all debts are paid, and all justice is satisfied, who knows if it'll even remember you at all? You know, he said, neither will the cowardly enter into the kingdom. Maybe you won't be remembered at all. And you know, for those people who never do anything but serve themselves, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Like he said, count the cost. He didn't say when you were building a little knick-knack project. He said a tower. Because that's what this is. It's work. It is. It's dedication. And you got to start with a strong foundation. Make sure that foundation is strong. We get carried away with a lot because there's a lot out there to carry us away and to toss us around on a very wavy sea. Start with a good foundation. And that's why I have gone to not accepting any labels, not accepting any dogma, any doctrine of any denomination. I will not do it. But I seek to prove everything for myself from the Word. And I'm not more extraordinary than anybody else. I'm not smarter than anybody else. I've been doing this for a while now, and I'm getting better at it. And that means studying when I say that. And I'm getting better at it because the Spirit is making me better at it. And I'm getting better at life. And I'm getting better at avoiding sin in general. Lots of different kinds. You get better at it. You practice. You don't practice sin. You practice righteousness. And part of that involves reading the Word and being courageous and not being quiet and timid while your brothers do the work. You have to join. You got a social media? You can post it. You can just share things. Good things that other people have said. Good things other people has done. Yeah, your family doesn't know that you believe these things. It's time they found out. Your friends don't know. Your business associates don't know. It's time they found out. Do you think I haven't already done this? I got the Canary Mission profile to prove it. I'm nobody necessarily special. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy. But I believe. I believe in our God. I believe in His truth. I know what's right and wrong. And I believe that nothing is going to be better for our children, our grandchildren, the people we love, if we don't participate. Participation is not speculation. It is not watching other people do it. Everybody has to participate. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope all of you take care of one another, all right, before you take care of yourself.